James and I sat in the principal's office waiting to be called. I was still filled with rage as I stared at the floor with a blank expression on my face. All I saw was Matt's face and my fist punching it over and over as blood covered my fist. I could almost taste it. I wanted more. You know what's going to happen now, right? James broke my fantasy as he spoke. I looked at him for a minute, then looked back down to continue my plan. James spoke again. Dom, shake it off and look at me. James spoke again, but this time I was caught by surprise. He called me Dom. No one ever just called my name like that alone. I looked at him again and said, "What?" James leaned in a little. "Listen, I understand how you're feeling, kid. I do. But you need to relax a bit. You have a lot of rage in you. That's good, but in front of the principal is a big no-no. You need to look calm and collective. Try taking a few deep breaths and closing your eyes. Trust me, it helps." I looked away from James and did as he said. I closed my eyes and took 3 really deep breaths. "That's it. There you go, kid. You're looking less like a serial killer and more normal now." I took one last breath and looked at James again. "Why are you helping me?" James put his head back and crossed his legs a bit. "Well, Dom, it may seem crazy to hear, but I was right where you were in my freshman year. Everybody was making fun of me, calling me names till day 1. Just like you did today, I snapped. Only I didn't almost kill the guy like you did. However, I got my point across. The way he talked to me, it made me feel so welcome, and hearing my name again, without hearing Chubby Dom or Dom the Retard, made me feel like for the first time in my life, I actually had a friend." "So what now?" I asked. "Did everybody leave you alone after?" James moved his fingers around like a twitch and fixed his legs and gave me a look of concern. "Well, yes, but in your case, Dom, I'm not too sure." I looked down at the floor again and asked why. James looked at his phone to check the time and said, "You see, Dom, you almost beat one of their star players half to death. Yes, Matt and I got into a fight, but I never hurt him bad. Since you nearly beat their star running back to death, they're all going to come looking for you. They're all going to be coming for you." Still looking at the ground and the emotions from before were building up again, I answered, in a very scary tone, "Then I'll just have to take all of them out." James inched closer to me with a surprised look on his face. Taking on the whole football team is suicide. They're going to catch you off guard and try to hurt you off school grounds. But come with me after this is all done and over with, and I can help you. I looked at James again, this time very surprised. "Help?" I said with an unsure voice. "Yes, you want the head of the snake, don't you? If you take out their star quarterback in a fight, this whole thing will end. But you gotta be smart about it, and I can help you, along with my friends." Friends? Help? These words were so foreign to me, but hearing them for the first time in months made me feel so happy. "Mr. Roman, Principal Anderson will see you now." Hearing that broke my happiness. I got up and looked back at James and said, "Thank you." James nodded and said, "Remember what I told you?" I nodded as well and turned back to my long descent into Principal Anderson's office. As I walked into Principal Anderson's office, I was almost blinded by how white his whole office was. The only thing that had color was his desk, which was red. "Ah, Mr. Roman, so I heard from the security officers that you almost beat our star running back half to death. I wonder how this is going to go over with the police." Mr. Anderson was a fat Irish man with curly brown hair. His face to me kind of reminded me of the devil. Like everyone says, evil always comes at you with a smile. I sat down in one of those shitty student chairs before he turned around to see my angry expression I was trying to hide, but failed. That's the problem with wearing your emotions on your sleeve. Everybody can read you. Mr. Anderson took a sip of his water and spoke again, this time a bit more furious with his hands. "So what am I supposed to do? Huh, Mr. Roman? I have an ambulance on the way for this kid, and parents who will probably sue." I still didn't speak. I kept staring at him, looking around his office, seeing pictures of his family, Pictures of him winning a high school football championship. Like he would have any idea what I am feeling right now. "Mr. Roman, do I have your attention?" I stared directly back at him with fury in my eyes and said, "You know, Mr. Anderson, I came to you a month ago, actually no, a week ago, and asked you to help me with this bully problem. And what did you say? Oh, just ignore them, it will go away. The same stupid bullshit excuse every dumbass teacher says in this school." Mr. Anderson sat up in his seat and pointed his finger at me, yelling, "Now listen here, young man. I will not, and I repeat, I will not have that language in my office. Who do you think you are, kid, talking to me like that? I'm sorry if your time here hasn't been pleasant, kid, but it doesn't warrant beating a fellow student half to death." I stood up and got right in his face. "Well, maybe if you did your goddamn job, maybe, just maybe I wouldn't be here right now in this fucking predicament. And you know what? Fuck that kid, and fuck you, you fat Irish prick. You couldn't help me, so I took matters into my own hands. And you know what? Next time, maybe your security team will be a bit faster, so hurry the fuck up and suspend me." Principal Anderson sat back in his chair and looked at me, bewildered and speechless, almost as if I had taken the life out of him. He then put his hand over his forehead and said, "Get the fuck out of my office, Dominic. You're suspended until further notice." I smirked at him and said, "Finally, something that isn't bullshit that flies out of your mouth." Principal Anderson stood up and shouted, "Leave!" I turned around and kicked his door open to see James with his arms in the air saying, "Dom, what the fuck?" I, for once being aggressive, said, "Let's get the fuck out of here." James and I both walked out of the school and started on our path to meet his friends. Along the way, I was so angry I started punching anything I saw. Trees, signs, anything. I didn't care anymore. Like I said, something broke within me that day, and I wasn't going back to the old me. James, along the way, was attempting to calm me down by saying, "Dom, relax." My mind was racing too much to even listen, until finally, James grabbed me and said, "Dom, I'm here. Calm down, man, it's okay. Remember what I told you. Deep breaths in and out, bro." I started doing what he said, and slowly but surely, I calmed down. James patted me on the back and said, "Alright, kid, there we go. Can't go meeting the guys like that. You'll end up scaring them," he joked. I looked at him surprised and asked, "Other guys?" James put his arm around my shoulder and said, "Yeah, you're part of my crew now." I stood there with my heart in my throat. Me? A part of something? A crew? And I'm part of it? I was speechless and at the same time happy for the first time in my life. James and I made our way to this elementary schoolyard in my neighborhood named R.C. Williams School. The schoolyard looked like any other schoolyard. It had a jungle gym and a huge field to play baseball in. Except, on the jungle gym stood 5 white guys all looking at me. James threw his hands in the air. "Kurt, Arnold, Hector, Eddie, Joe, get your asses over here. We got a new member." They all walked over at the sound of James's voice. I could tell from that one order that James was the leader of this group. They all surrounded James and I in a circle, and I got a better look at them all. Kurt was a tall, muscular kid. He might have been over 6 foot and had long brown hair. If I had to give an accurate description of his face, I'd say he looked like Daniel Radcliffe. Arnold had the same hair color as Kurt, only a lot shorter, and he was about the same height as me, only he was very cut and muscular. He had a face that kind of looked like a shark with his 2 front teeth sticking out. Hector was a massive guy. He was very big and muscular, with his black hair slicked back. If I had to be honest, he and Eddie almost looked similar, except Eddie was a little on the chubby side and had short blonde hair. Lastly, Joe. He was probably the least intimidating guy in the group. He looked very out of shape and just didn't look as tough as the rest of the guys. James spoke up again. "This little devil right here is Dom. Saw this kid take out 3 football players in the boys' bathroom today." Eddie wised up. "Bullshit, this fucking kid looks like the wind could knock him over." I perked up. "Listen, asshole." James put his hand down for me to shut up and spoke again. "Eddie, he may not look like much, but I guarantee you, get him angry enough and he's a force to be reckoned with." Eddie again, acting very confident, said, "Well, Jimmy, if he's as tough as you say he is, I want to go at him, see what all the fuss is about." James looked back at me and saw the rage in my eyes building up again, and said in a very laughable tone, "All right, Eddie, it's your funeral." I took off my sweatshirt and was ready to fight. Eddie threw the first punch at me, but instead of dodging it, I let him hit me twice. I fell to the ground and tasted blood, and at that moment, I felt it again. My rage slowly coming back to help me again. I let out a snarl as I got up and spat out blood. Eddie threw another punch, but this time I blocked it and uppercutted him. He fell back, confused, and said, "Finally, the shit stain does something." All of them started clapping. I don't know if it was for me or Eddie, but the noise of it all fueled me even more. I blocked it with my elbow, causing him to break his hand. He let out a scream and I started punching him with right and left hooks over and over again. He tried attacking me with his good arm, but I kicked his knee in and he fell to the ground. I put my knee on his chest and started punching him again and again. Once again, there was a slight smile on my face. I didn't realize how much fun beating somebody up was. It was such a rush. Until James yelled, "All right, enough, Dom, that's it." I didn't listen. I kept hitting him until once again I felt hands on me pulling me off of him. I turned around and punched Hector in the face. He stood there for a second, but then started laughing, and so did James. From that moment on, I found my group of friends. Like I said, I don't know if I want to look at this day as an omen of things to come, but for once in my whole life, in that moment, is where I truly felt alive. Hey guys, thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Nightmare Army. I'm always looking for new soldiers in my Nightmare Nation. And if you guys would like to support the Nightmare Army even further, please leave a PayPal donation if you want. So guys, I just want to say that I'm sorry for not doing a powwow at the end of my last video, which kind of leads me into what I'm about to talk about now. First off, there won't be a video this Friday just because lately I've been feeling a little bit burnt out by YouTube lately. And I don't like getting too personal about, my life and whatnot, even though sometimes I think I should. Just honestly, lately with YouTube and whatnot and being how it has been, I've just been feeling really stressed out lately, and, I really haven't actually taken a break from YouTube. I mean, even when I get sick, I'm still working. I don't like to call it work, but even when I'm sick, even when I have stuff to do, even on the weekends, all I'm thinking about is YouTube and work. I mean, in all honesty, I went from uploading every day to getting myself sick and then ending up in the hospital to only uploading once a week, and I can understand how that might piss off some people just because. But, just constantly trying to come up with new ideas and whatnot, and constantly trying to figure out, what the next video could be. So, just as of now, I'm just going to take a small break from YouTube. It's not going to be a long break, don't worry. I'm going to be back, but just maybe a week break a little bit from YouTube just to clear my head a little bit, just so I can just give my mind a little bit of relaxation because, in all honesty, really, I don't really take days off from YouTube. Honestly, right after I'm done uploading a video, I'm working on the next one. Even on the weekends sometimes, too. If I have nothing else to do, I'll narrate. And, of course, my parents were kind of saying, if you keep doing that, you're going to overwork yourself. And, being as young as I am, of course, you don't listen to your parents. And, they end up being right. But anyways, guys, I don't mean to really end this video on a bad note or I'm pretty sure that's the last thing anybody wants to hear about me taking a break. But don't worry, I'll be back soon. Thank you all for watching, and just remember, the best ideas always come out of nightmares.